What's going on, people? ¿Cómo están? It's the very first, podcast during the World Cup. And as you can see, I'm kitted out. I also got my substitute t-shirt here, the Perry one. I needed to have two teams, one on one side of the bracket and the other one at the other side of the bracket. That's what I was going for. And hopefully it worked out. Today, I rooted for Costa Rica, Germany, Spain, and Japan all in the same day. It was weird. It was exciting. But there's one guy here who rooted for one team throughout the entire tournament. And congrats to them. John, you have made it to the round of 16. ¿Cómo estás?
USA, USA, USA. You guys all left me hanging. Nobody was picking USA. Everybody went Wales. I felt personally attacked about this. We're going to talk more about that later. Hello, gentlemen. It's good to see you. Welcome, listeners.
I'm Pablo. He's a little bit sick after that Japan game. So tell me, how is it?
I'm surviving, guys. I'm just about hobbling through. But yeah, no. Well, Spain are through, I suppose, is the headline, and some aren't through. Some big teams are out. So yeah, happy to be back, and should be some good discussion.
The most Spanish British accent I've ever heard in my life. Okay, so John is gonna, yeah. And I want to say it personally for our viewers, for the ones who are actually viewing the podcast. I just love that shirt. John, football is life. Is that from Ted Lasso?
Football is life. Yes, it's from Ted Lasso. My hometown club, FC Cincinnati, ran these. Picked one up at the stadium. Beautiful stadium, TQL Stadium. Shout out to FC Cincinnati. Folks, I'm going to kick things off with a twisted take. I'm coming in hot. Let me twist up the stash for this one. You guys know I love a good conspiracy. For those of you paying attention, I find it a little bit ironic, BUGA, that you're wearing a Japón jersey and you got Spain in the wings there, because I think the fix is in. I think Spain let Japan win that match, knowing that number 2 in the group is actually a better seed looking at the matchups. Spain in number 2 will now be facing Morocco, while Japón have to take on Croatia. I think the fix is in, gentlemen. What do you think? Because Germany would have had to beat Costa Rica by, 6, 7 goals, something like that. So I think Spain felt very confident that Costa Rica not going to knock out Germany. Germany were going to win but by not a large enough goal margin. So they get to go through at number 2 and face Morocco instead of Croatia. Conspiracy?
I see where you're coming from. I feel that I was just speaking about this to my family, actually. I feel like it was almost subconscious in the Spanish players' minds that they knew they didn't have to win today, and in fact they could probably lose today because, like you said, they had a feeling Germany were going to beat Costa Rica, not like 14-0, so it meant that they were going to still go through. And I think that played a part. I think that's ultimately a big reason why Spain have lost today and probably put themselves in this almost worse spot mentally going into round of 16. In terms of, are they on an easier bracket? Maybe. Morocco or Croatia? I think both teams would cause issues to Spain. Maybe Morocco would cause more of an issue to the way Spain play than Croatia would, is what I would say. But say Spain beat Croatia on that bracket, and then they would have played Brazil, I believe, in the quarterfinals. Then I think they would have been looking at Argentina, and then you're looking at someone like England maybe in the final. On the other side of the bracket, if Spain get past Morocco, now that we're in second, we're looking at Portugal in the quarterfinals, which isn't easy. But I just feel with the way Spain play, they're probably better suited to playing a Portugal than a Brazil. So, look, I don't think... It's hard to call, but I know what you mean. I feel like... And we've seen that before in certain last games of groups where teams are quite happy to go on one side of the bracket. Like, I think England did that last World Cup, actually, and that carried them to the semis. So, I don't know if it was intentional, but that was definitely playing on the players' minds. I think they let themselves slip, let Japan back in the game, and ultimately might be better off for it. We're going to have to see.
BUGA, what are your thoughts?
I don't really care. Like in South America,
You're just so hyped on Japan, you don't even care.
No, yeah, like in South America, match fixing is like, It's not like you actually match fix, right? But for instance, Peru went to the World Cup in 2018 because Radamel Falcao went to Tapia, one of our players, and went like, hey, dude, if we draw, we both go to the World Cup and Chile don't go out.
Yeah.
And everybody in South America hates Chile. So we are like, yeah, like that's a given. But and I think that's when I was watching this game, I was just like, I was just saying like, Lucho, just let Japan win. If Japan win, you get an easier draw on paper against Morocco, and then you just you don't need to win this game. But at the end of the day, I don't think Spain. I think it's more what Pablo said. I think subconsciously they're in their minds. Yes, they were losing perhaps this game because they didn't manage to turn up as much as they did in the previous games coming into this one, into this last fixture. But also, I believe that they took it seriously because, you could see the way that Spain played in the last few minutes. They always went attacking. They could just pass the ball to the back, and they wanted to end up winning this game. Because still, I think there was a snippet here and there where Luis Enrique said that he didn't realize at one moment they were actually out. So he maybe wasn't too aware of what was happening in the Germany-Costa Rica game. So his focus was, let's just win this game.
Yeah. There was a moment there. Costa Rica had the lead over Germany. I think it only lasted about 30 seconds. But for a moment there, Germany and Spain were both out. This was a wild match day. This was a fun group. Let's back things up, though. All right, let's get ourselves to Group A. Let's go group by group. I want to get some thoughts, some opinions, some reactions, because we had some shocking results throughout. Pablo, back to you. Group A. What was it? What were your takeaways from this one?
I think it's ended the way that the most generic predictors would have gone for the group in terms of Netherlands, Senegal through in first and second, then Ecuador, and then Qatar. As we know, I went for Qatar going through. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe them to be better. Maybe some match fixing. I don't know what I was thinking. I just thought a home nation. Let's see what happens. But they were just so bad, by the way. How poor like Qatar at football is just like, oh dear. Ecuador, I think you guys went Ecuador to go through. And to be fair, by the time we got to match day 3, I thought Ecuador were going to knock out Senegal. But Senegal have gone through. We'll start on Netherlands, though. Netherlands through in top, like 7 points is a good return, but they're not convincing me. I don't think they're going to do anything in the tournament. And also, we'll go on to USA in a minute, but let's watch out for that round of 16 game, by the way. I think maybe if Netherlands do go through, it could be that more of like an extra time go through, because Netherlands aren't convincing me, is all I'm going to say. Senegal, they've done their job when it wasn't looking great at first, so credit to them for that. But I think they're going to be blown away by England. So, look, ultimately, Netherlands through as expected, Senegal through as expected. Ecuador, I thought, put out a really strong showing this tournament, but been dumped out eventually. But yeah, I think as generically expected, but I don't expect any of the teams coming out of this group to do anything in the tournament.
Okay. BUGA, were you surprised by the result in Group A?
I did say, like, my prediction was that at the moment when we made our predictions and when I made my mind up, Mane was going to play at least one game. And I was like, if Mane plays for Senegal, they're going through. And Ecuador, if Mane doesn't play, Ecuador will go through. But it happened that way. Like Senegal without Mane still went through. And that caught me a little bit by surprise. But I'm going to say that it was more on the hands of Ecuador themselves. I think that Senegal against the Netherlands, they didn't convince me that much, but neither did the Netherlands. You see, it was both of like their tactics neutralize each other. Against, for instance, Senegal against Ecuador, against Qatar, yes, they won 3-1. Great job. And Ecuador versus Senegal, I think that Ecuador played that game really, really badly. I think that out of the 3 games, Ecuador deserved to win 2 of them. Against the Netherlands, they deserved to win. Like, if you saw the game, Ecuador they deserved to win. Against Qatar, they deserved to win. And against Senegal, they started a little bit more defensively because they knew that Senegal needed to attack a little bit more. And when it was too late, they forgot to attack. But like Pablo says, then, yes, I think that against England, they're probably going to go out. I think with Mane, that's a matchup that I would be like, yes, I want to see that. Mane against Mane being the front cover of ex-Liverpool player. Yes, you're going to see a good showing. And I'm a little bit, like, how you say it, bittersweet with this, because I believe that Ecuador could have given an even better showing in the round of 16 against England than what Senegal could have done. I think that Ecuador, the physicality, the intensity, I just really like their team. And I thought they could have actually gone far. And we could have seen a matchup between like Colombia and England in 2018. But I don't know. I don't think Senegal do really have a chance against England, but we never know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Just my memories looking back, what stood out in those matches, I'm surprised Ecuador didn't do enough to get through. I'll say this, though. The silver lining for one of these countries, Qatar, have been, as Pablo mentioned, clear of all accusations of match fixing. I mean, there is no chance that any money exchanged hands in any meaningful way. Bottom of the table, only team, I think, eliminated going into the third match day, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody else at least had some outliers chance. So
No, Canada,
not a
Canada.
good Canada. Oh, and Canada. Sorry, forgotten about already. But we'll talk about them. They were a disappointment. My goodness, let me and all of CONCACAF down. Egg on my face. I'm pretty sure that was my hot take in our preview. Was that Canada would really turn some heads this time? Yeah, good one, John. But yeah, Group A, Netherlands coming out, Senegal coming out. Let's move on. To Group B.
Wait. Before we move,
you got more thoughts. All right, Buga.
Yeah. Did you see the first game between Ecuador and Qatar?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that? Yeah, I was like, when I saw that game, I'm not gonna lie, I felt really bad about Qatar. I don't know if you felt that's the same. No, I honestly was like heartbroken because they built this team like yes, they built this team like 16 years into it. Minute one, they sorry, F word, give me a yellow card. They just blew it. Yeah. And from I have never seen a team this demoralized since Barcelona at Anfield. And that tells you something. I haven't seen that. In a while.
You didn't have to bring up Anfield at this time of night?
Yeah, dude. Trigger warning for Barcelona supporters.
Yes. But it's true. Like I felt really bad for them, and honestly, like I was really happy they managed to score a goal against Senegal. They really did deserve it. But my goodness, the manager, he didn't blink, he didn't do anything. He was just like he was, I don't know, like eaten by the situation completely.
Yeah, overwhelmed by the situation. I think that's accurate. I think that's a good assessment of what happened there. And you're right. Early on, Qatar kind of blew it there, and didn't they suspend their league? Like that national team has been together training since September or something like that. The better part of the last 3 or 4 months, and put in that much time, and then to go out like that, it's disappointing. But you know what? Their first World Cup. We'll see what happens from there. They got that experience and they can build off of that, right?
They are far better than what they showed. Like they played in Copa America, and I've seen them, and against Uruguay they were like good team.
Yeah, that's what I find weird. Like they look so bad at the World Cup. I swear they've been getting decent results before.
Like they considered one goal winning the Asian Cup. Like they actually are good, but the people who don't watch Qatar are gonna be like, haha, I told you so. Yeah. And that's what I hate about Twitter.
Yeah. The trolls are real, for sure. Speaking of trolls, there was a fair amount of trolling after USA got that draw against England. I saw all kinds of things going around. One of them I found kind of funny was some of the images of the pubs in England as the final whistle blew, and the reaction of some of the English supporters just throwing beers everywhere, throwing beers at the TV and whatnot. England are still fine. Is there something, Pablo, this is really a question more for you. Is there something particularly annoying for English folks losing to America? And I say losing because a draw for them, I think, in this match was a loss.
Yeah. No, there is. I mean, even against Wales as well, they feel the rivalry. But against the US as well, yeah. Like the people here, like, look down on you guys in a way. I don't know if that's the way to say it, but they do. They take the mick out of the Americans, and I think they were obviously expecting to kind of walk over the US. So 0-0 was a really frustrating evening for them. I think they really wanted to win. They really did, and I think they would have been very frustrated with that for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Like in university, they would mark me down because I would write colors without a U or I write color with a U, but I don't write analyze. I write analyze with a C.
Yeah,
like zebra
with a Z.
Yeah. And I write it like that honestly because it looks cooler, not because it's with an S. And they mark me down for that.
That's hilarious. Well, despite that, England still get top of the group, right? And they're going to be taking on Senegal. Are any of us willing to take Senegal I know we're gonna. Well, we're gonna talk brackets later.
Yeah,
on, right?
leave it later.
We're gonna. We'll leave it. Sorry, getting ahead of myself here. I'm excited. Riding this World Cup train. Okay. Any other thoughts on Group B? Any other surprises in those matches? I thought Iran played really well. There was, I think, a fair amount of emotion, particularly in that U.S. match. There's a lot going on in Iran politically. But I thought they performed well. I thought they represented their country in a way that they can hold their heads high, and ended up third, a respectful third for Iran, I'd say.
Yeah.
I wanna mention two things. First of all, didn't you see the press conference where the journalist went to say to Tyler Adams, it's not Iran, it's Iran. And I'm gonna say to you again, like I don't.
Yeah.
No, but I
don't know
wanted
why.
to
It's
mention.
embedded in American culture that it's Iran. I don't know why.
But I wanted to mention like the class act of Tyler Adams, the way he spoke.
Oh yeah.
Oof, that was hot. And I also wanted to like shout out USA. I honestly, coming into this World Cup, I hadn't seen too much research of the US national team. I heard they had a lot of troubles. Even the interviews we did, everything led to for them not playing too good. But for me, in every single of the games they played, they were the better team. Even against England, they played the better football. And I think that genuinely they have a good chance, like you mentioned before, of knocking maybe the Netherlands out. But we'll see. Wales, disappointment in every single game. The pragmatic approach from Rob Page, their manager, was honestly really bad. We've seen better Wales before in other tournaments. And even now with a better squad, I don't know what's happened. They were really bad. And Iran, I guess, dude, that victory against Wales was historic. And they could have get something against the USA, but I don't know. They were this close to qualifying. So shout outs to them as well.
Yeah, Wales just looked old and slow to me. I feel like they just never really came to play. That's how it felt to me. But I'll say this. Sorry, Paul, I'll jump over you in a second.
Yeah.
BUGA, you mentioned Tyler Adams. Super impressed with Tyler Adams, but I will say I'm not surprised. I've been watching him at Leeds all season long, and he's been doing it for them consistently. So not surprised by Tyler Adams, but I will say he's establishing himself as a top defensive midfielder. The one that really stood out to me and surprised me box to box was Yunus Musa. I knew that he had the creativity and the pace on the ball, on the dribble, but defensively, there were times when he was owning the center of that pitch and Adams and McKennie were to his left and right. So Yunus Musa for me was actually one of the standouts that I think deserves some special recognition, and just turned 20 years old. Just turned 20. Playing at Valencia right now. So look out for that young man. He's got quite a career coming up for him.
Pablo, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, no, I mean, with the group, I knew England would storm it. I really did. I didn't expect them to score that many goals, I got to say so. But I did expect that sort of group from... I did expect that sort of performance from England in the group. Like, one disappointing game, very much like the Euros, like when the 0-0 draw to Scotland, like, that's what it reminded me of the USA, where they just don't do anything and just get a 0-0. But the other games, they were good enough. I just don't think they're that amazing, but I do think they'll go really far. I think they play good tournament football. And I think they're strong enough. Iran impressed me. They did impress me. And I got to say, I think they'll consider themselves almost unfortunate to go through. Wales were awful, like so bad. We all thought they were going to go through. They usually fight and stuff. Bale didn't even touch the ball. Let's be honest, they shouldn't have even got a point against USA. So really, they should have been ending there on 0 points. But USA, we've got to say, what an impressive group stage. You're right, Bulga, because when you said like that, it was like that they actually deserved to win all 3 games, or at least they were the best team in all 3 games. Like, that's actually quite impressive, especially when all of us were kind of looking around and thinking, are they going to do much really? Like, they're doing well, and now they've got Netherlands, which isn't the worst draw, and I think they'll be thinking, hang on a minute, let's see what we can do here. So they've got to be massively happy about that group stage, you've got to say, and especially the way it was going, 2 draws at the start, it's not ideal, to then go and play Iran, who I think could have done with a draw. No, yeah, they could have gone through with a draw, so to then go and get the win there, like, I don't know, that's massive. Like, Pulisic has looked really good as well, by the way, I thought, and we were a bit worried about him before the start of the tournament, so really, really top group stage from USA, and they thoroughly deserve to go through.
I think the problem for the US now that Berhalter needs to fix for the round of 16 is the striker. I feel that's in every single game we didn't see consistency. We see different names. I'm surprised they didn't play Jesus Ferreira. Is he not fit or something? Because he was your main number 9 in qualification.
There's something going on with Ferreira and Reina. For some reason, those two names were touted to be in the starting 11. And surprising that neither have gotten much playing time at all. I don't think Ferreira has even stepped onto the pitch, and Reina's been used just in the dying minutes of I think one match. He may have been on against two, I forget.
Against England, I think. And that's what I mean. Like, I feel that honestly, the US, their best formation could be something like a 4-4-2 or something like that. Just keep Pulisic up top. Timothy Weah, I'm also very impressed with him. And then have a midfield for like Brendan Aronson, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, and Yunus Musa. That's an incredible midfield. And then Tim Ream, my goodness, that guy. What is he doing?
I'll tell you this, folks.
He's playing really good.
Before the World Cup, that was the one name where I was like, really? We got to bring Tim Ream. We don't have a better center back than Tim Ream. I'll tell you this. We don't have a better center back than Tim Ream, and that's okay. That's okay by me. I think I was looking at some stats earlier on. I might be wrong. He's, I think, top 10 for it was either clearances or interceptions, something along those lines. He was in one of the top defensive stats for World Cup center backs in this tournament. Highly impressed. Playing for Fulham, and alongside him, Anthony Robinson. When Anthony Robinson,
good.
When he gets some composure, and I'll tell you what, in the next couple of years, right? He needs to develop some brakes to those jets that he has for legs. When he gets some composure,
those are huge.
Telling you, dude. Yeah, my wife was like, his body is so weird looking. I said, it's because he looks like an avatar. If you were going to build yourself a soccer player at like cartoon version with just like massive legs, that's what you would do.
Yes. Honestly, I think the US for 2026, they're going to have a good team, a very, very good team.
Yeah. And before we move on to Group C, from the perspective of American supporters, it's job done, actually. Barring an embarrassing performance against Netherlands, we did what we needed to do. We played well in the group stage. We represented our country. We got out to the knockout rounds, and we set ourselves up for an exciting World Cup in 2026 here in the States.
Yeah, in your nation.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Speaking of mission accomplished, looked shaky at first, but Argentina did get top of their group, followed by Poland, who made it through at the end of the day on goal differential. It was looking like Mexico was going to lose it on yellow cards there for a second, but Poland get through on goal differential. Mexico get third. Saudi Arabia drop all the way to fourth after a huge upset over Argentina. BUGA, start us out with this one. What were your thoughts on Group C?
Dude, that game between Saudi Arabia and Argentina, that's probably one of the best memories I'm going to have of a World Cup. It was honestly like shocking. It was shocking. Like every single one of us, and I'm mentioning like viewers, I'm mentioning audience, I'm mentioning every single guest that we brought into the show. Every single one, Saudi Arabia, bottom of the group. I mean, they were bottom of the group, but like properly humiliating, properly not playing good football, properly just failing. And if I want to talk about a team, it's about them, because my goodness, their strategy against Argentina. And Argentinian reporters and journalists are famed for just giving critics and like spouting everything that comes to their head to the Argentina national team. But the narrative was, you know what? And I agree with it. Saudi Arabia just simply played better than Argentina. Saudi Arabia managed to find a way to trap Argentina into playing directly those cheap balls so that they could just simply have the offside and trap them like that. And 7 offsides in one half, insane from Saudi Arabia to be able to cling on to that. Kudos to them. Argentina, there was a moment where we all thought they could have gone out, but I knew they were going to have the job done against Mexico. I knew they were going to do the job against Poland. I'm surprised that Mexico didn't do better against Poland, maybe. I think that game was key, but at the end, Poland playing horrendous football. They managed to sneak through, and Lewandowski got his goal. That's good to. I think that's World Cup done for Poland as well. So I'll leave it there. And Argentina quickly. Enzo Fernandez. I'm gonna get close to the mic so the listeners can listen to us. Amazing. That guy's exquisite footballer. Like honestly, I think Scaloni, you know what, he understood that the game plan was, I'm not going to play Paredes, I'm not going to play Lautaro Martinez. We need something else. He brought in Julian Alvarez, incredible goal against Poland, Enzo Fernandez, and they're going to be starters from now on to the rest of the World Cup. So good on them, and please, Barcelona, bring Enzo Fernandez.
Pablo, you surprised it's Poland, not Mexico?
From what I heard from Mexico before the tournament with Tata Martino, who has now gone, as was expected, I'm not. But with the way it was going, people were thinking maybe. I wasn't that impressed with Mexico. I wasn't. I was impressed with Saudi Arabia, though. Like, I think Saudi Arabia quite hard done by to only have 3 points, by the way. Like, was it the Poland game where I think they missed a penalty and then several chances? That game, that could have been a different game, and they've lost that 2-0 in the end, and that maybe looks like a comfortable win for Poland, but it wasn't. So the tournament turns there, obviously. So I think they'll be actually really disappointed, especially after that performance against Argentina, to come bottom, because Saudi Arabia really impressed me whenever I watched them. Whenever I turned on the TV, they were actually playing really well. Poland, everyone was joking about Poland as if they've played at the worst football you've ever seen at a World Cup. I suppose it wasn't great, was it? But I mean, they've done their job. I do think they'll be going out though in the round of 16. And Argentina, I wasn't so impressed with. Like, honestly, Argentina reminded me more of the 2018 Argentina than the 2021 Argentina. Unfortunately, is what I'd say about this group stage from them. But now it's looking favourable for them. Australia in the round of 16. That's a good draw, very good draw in a World Cup. And then quarterfinals, either USA or Netherlands. Not bad at all. Not bad at all for Argentina. So I think they'll be really happy with how it's turned out eventually. But I wasn't blown away from them because everyone had them as favourites, and they looked a bit like 2018 Argentina to me, a little bit.
I don't agree with that at all.
I knew you wouldn't. I didn't know. No, they were okay. No, I don't think they were that good, Argentina.
I mean, they started horrible. Horrible. Like they started worse than Peru. And then against Mexico they improved a little bit, but then against Poland, I think if I had to rank performances like of the best teams that I've seen performing, first I put Spain against Costa Rica, then I put France against Denmark, and then third I would put Argentina versus Poland. I think they were better than Brazil against Serbia and all that. I think Argentina were good.
I think all credit to Saudi Arabia, right? But I do think we're overlooking the fact that if not for this new, updated, insanely precise offside technology, Argentina put 2 or 3 in the back of the net themselves, and Saudi Arabia don't get the 3 points. Argentina get 9 points, 3 wins, and I don't know if we're really talking about them slipping up at all. The new the new offside technology is there's no wiggle room whatsoever. One of those offside calls was literally the only part of the shoulder that can play the ball before it's handball was offside. Nothing more. And it was called off. So I don't want to take credit away from Saudi Arabia. It was a huge accomplishment. But I'm actually not holding that much against Argentina. First match, warming up, a lot of pressure going into it, huge winning streak on the line. Get that out of the way to begin with. So now the pressure's off. They play much better against Mexico and get the results. They play well against Poland. I'm not holding that first loss against them too much. I think it's a good moment for Saudi Arabia, but that's where it stops for me.
Mm-hmm. I'm just more thinking that even before Messi whacked one in out of nowhere against Mexico, I'm looking and thinking Argentina haven't done anything. They needed to win. They needed to win this game, and they're stubborn. Like they're not creating. They're not pinning Mexico about. Yeah. They just look like 2018 Argentina. I'm sorry, like for half the group stage. Mm-hmm. And I just think people basically had them as favourites, and I just think they weren't so amazing. It was my point.
You know,
they didn't look that good to me. I agree. From what I saw against Poland, they did look a lot better, but they suffered massively. Argentina in a lot of moments in this World Cup so far.
I'm never gonna forget one thing that my dad told me, and that's true. And he's way older than all of us put together, so I trust that. Is that he mentioned how teams, it's important that your peak doesn't arrive too early at the World Cup or before a World Cup. It has to be like right when you're climbing your way up. And I think that we saw the dip now with Argentina, and it's slowly climbing back up. And like you say, they were bad the first half of the group stage, but the half where you want to be better, they were. And that's kind of the only thing that I pull towards them, because I feel that they may be finding, like I was saying, Enzo Fernandez, Julian Alvarez, those players right in where they need to start building that peak. And like you say, against Australia, they're going to be able to cement that even further. Against a good draw between USA or Netherlands, they might as well be able to go further of that. So I think that, I don't know how you call it, that tendency is in their favor. And I feel that if other teams around in the World Cup, I don't see that much. For instance, Japan, their pick is done. Like, I don't know how they will be able to beat another team, but that's what I mean. I think picks are important.
It's a good point.
You know what I mean? The environment.
It's massive. No, you're right. We'll go into that with some groups later, but you are really right about at what time you hit form. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to get to Japan here in a second, but let's first get to Group D. We had France first. Nobody surprised by that, right? But Australia coming in at second above Tunisia, and then Denmark down in fourth. I think we all had Denmark in second, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I had
or was
Denmark
anybody
first.
picking?
Yeah, I was going to say, we cannot. There was definitely some people on this podcast. You and I think Diego as well, who had Denmark first.
Yeah, dude.
Not to point any fingers, but BUGA and Diego, definitely.
Look, I'm gutted about Australia because I'm like, Peru could have been there.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about that, but Peru could have been there. And let me tell you this: I hate Australia. I'm never gonna put a foot down on Australia. I'm not gonna go there. I love Australian people, but I'm not gonna go there. The thing is that the fixture list works so good in their favor, and that's something that I didn't realize perhaps before. I think every Peruvian was like, "What's the point of going to this World Cup if we're just gonna get smashed by a better Denmark or smashed by a better France?" And the thing is that, well, since Australia played that game first against France, they get the best team out of the way first, and then they face the weaker team in Tunisia. They managed to beat Tunisia, or the equal team, and then they face Denmark, it will be their rival, right? And that worked in their favor because Denmark reached that point last and had that anxiety. They were nervous, and it worked in their favor. So honestly, kudos to Australia. They managed to work that fixture well, and I feel that's one of the main parts why they're able to go through. And I just think, like, damn, Peru could have been there.
Too bad. Next time for Peru, maybe. Pablo, any takeaways from Group D?
Well, super surprised to see Australia through, I got to say. I don't think anyone saw that coming, actually. I mean, fair play to, I don't know how well they've played, though, when I've seen them, but they have dug in and got results. But you'd back Argentina to beat them, wouldn't you? Tunisia, I thought, could have gone through, honestly. I did, because they seem to have almost a bit more nous and grit about them than Australia, but Australia have done it really impressively in the end. Like, honestly, that's just incredible to me. And Denmark, it was everyone's dark horses, weren't they? A load of people, by the way, BUGA, had Denmark to finish above France in this group. People were really, really backing Denmark, and ultimately they never got going. But France, I think will be happy with themselves, because I think they shut up quite a few people, even maybe a few of us included, because I think everyone was saying France aren't going to do much, but they look good. And in my opinion, they always look good with Giroud. So they're looking good.
They look really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. All right. I want to fast forward a little bit, because the next two groups have, I think, inarguably the two biggest disappointments. Starting with Group E, Japan topping the group, Spain in second, and we know my take on that. Germany ends up in third, and then Costa Rica in fourth. After a respectable performance, shaking off that, what was it, 7-0 or 7-1 loss to Spain. They moved on from that and then performed well. But Japan topping the table, Spain getting 2. What's our reactions to this one? Pablo, back to you first.
Yeah, well, crazy group. The group of death, in my opinion, going into it. Where do we start? Japan, so impressive. I was always worried about Japan going into it. I think a few of us mentioned Japan as maybe dark horses, but everyone was hesitant because they were in a group with Germany and Spain. Mm-hmm. I think to beat both of them, to come top is really something. I don't know if we were expecting that. Maybe we were expecting they get a draw against both, maybe, or they beat one. But to beat both and then to lose to Costa Rica in the middle is just a weird turn of events. So massive credit to them, and they are such a nuisance to play against, by the way. honestly, such an energetic and fit team, and so accurate as well. And then structurally, defensively as well, such a good side. Spain, I should be a lot more positive, I think, about Spain than I unfortunately am, because we're recording this after we've lost to Japan. But I think before this, I would have been really positive about them. The 7-0 against Costa Rica, I think, like BUGA says, was probably the best performance we've seen at the tournament. The 1-0 against Germany, I think, consolidated it. It wasn't unbelievable, but it was a strong performance of kind of like, yeah, we're contenders here. We're going to be one of the best 4 teams at this World Cup. And then I think to lose to Japan, it isn't the end of the world. And like we've said with the bracket, it doesn't necessarily mean it's disaster time for Spain, but it's not ideal. And it comes back to what Bulgar said about reaching peaks in tournament. And you don't really, in my opinion, want to be going into the knockout stages off the back of a defeat. It would have been much better for Spain if they'd lost 2-1 to Costa Rica, drawn to Germany, and then beat Japan 7-0, for example. All of a sudden we'd be thinking, oh, here we go, Spain. Now we're thinking, oh, Spain, are they that good? And that's just with like timings and stuff. You want to be building in a World Cup, and Spain now going up against an impressive Morocco off the back of a defeat, even though they kind of knew, yeah, even if we lose today, it's not that important. It's just not great in my opinion. But I do think Spain collectively are maybe the strongest team in the tournament. You've got to back the manager. I think he's just got to get the starting 11 right again. Go back to what the 11 was against Costa Rica and Germany, and I think we'll be fine. Aspie at right back, get Laporte in. I think Rodri's been a bit of a revelation at centre back, Alba at left back, and get Ferran and Asensio back in up front, and I think Spain will be fine. Germany, of course, I'll quickly wrap up now. Massive disappointment. 2 World Cups in a row out of the group stage. You know, they will be devastated with that. That's a real blow. And there's not really much else to say on that. I don't think they were good enough, Germany, and they'll be gutted with that, because it's just embarrassing, isn't it? You know, it's not good enough. It's a massive disaster for them. And Costa Rica, really weird, because they lost 7-0 and then won, and then nearly knocked out Germany. And it's like, well, we don't really know what to think about these guys. But yeah, crazy group, and it did live up to the expectation.
100%. I think, like you say, I actually playing devil's advocate. I think this could be good for Spain in a way, because I think that look, one aspect that I'm not gonna underestimate is the Twitch stream factor of Luis Enrique. And why do I say this? Because it gives the narrative about Spain is different, because you have since it's so like bubbly and it's everything exciting because Luis Enrique is doing new things. It's like Spain are in a good mood. You see it from the narrative, from social media. You see it from the main papers there in Spain. They're in a good mood. And sometimes this, like a loss like this, can wake you up and be like, you know what, we're not that good, but we are good, but the job is not yet done. And that's what I think maybe Spain were getting too carried a bit by that. Yeah. And I feel that that could actually help them a little bit to wake up. But I do get what you mean of the building. It's certainly not the good. You could also play like reversely, right? They could be like, well, this loss wasn't important, and they go a little bit slow to the game against Morocco, and they get like smashed. So I don't know. It's depending on that. Costa Rica, I also want to mention a little bit credit to that, because I think being able to revert a situation like that is not easy. And you have to give credit to Luis Fernando Suarez there, because it's not simple. Like having a team lose 7-0 and the next game win in 2 days' time, like 3 days' time, get back into the game, win a game, and then be at one moment Costa Rica were through. And you have to give credit to that. For Germany, disaster. It's honestly no one expected this. I think no one expected this. I think that everyone could say, yes, they're going to go through. Even Müller just retired. It's going to be his last game for Germany. There's even news that Hansi Flick, he said, like, I'm not sure whether I need to continue or not. It's honestly a disaster. I don't think anyone in Germany expected this. I think people expected Germany to go far in this tournament. It's honestly the opposite. I do feel that they were, if it wasn't for Spain 7-0, nothing would have happened. So I feel they can feel themselves there. And well, losing to Japan as well in the first match day just tells you, I think, how good Japan was. And now representing this shirt, I was listening to the press conference of Hajime Moriyasu, who is the manager, and he mentioned something very crucial, because he said, like, we're not the best, we're not the fastest. I can only manage what I can control. So he was saying, I can control the fitness of my players, and I can control the tactics. And he said that he had a plan for every single situation. Like if they scored first, he had a substitution, he had a plan. Red card, he had a plan. If they put out this player and bring this one on, they had a situation for every single player and for every single situation. And it shows you a little bit of the kind of the stereotypes of Japanese people. Like they're always very organized, respect. And for me, that's amazing. Honestly, you could narrow this down to Japan's biggest weapon is respect, because they know, they learn about their opposition, and they know what they can do the best. And I think it paid off. So I really like that. And that's why I bought this shirt. And I put BUGA in the back of it.
Yeah, that is a sick kit, I gotta say. And shout out for the number 8 as well. I'll say I am mostly impressed with Japan with their adaptability. In both matches with Spain and Germany, they took a punch and then came back, went a goal down, ended up winning 2-1. So I think Japan are a team that are kind of built for a little Cinderella run here. I mean, I know we're going to talk about brackets up next, but I don't know if it necessarily ends for them in the round of 16. I think they're a fun team to watch.
I don't think they lose in the round of 16. I think Brazil, Japan, that's one that for me is in the book since last time, because I wanted Japan to beat Belgium. And if Japan beat Belgium, they would have faced Brazil. And I just want that much. I just want to see that game. So that's okay. I want to see it so bad.
I'll tell you what, I like that. I'll tune in for that one for sure. Okay, I like that a lot. Spain, for me, I think they'll recover. I think because of where they landed in the bracket, I think they'll have a nice little run here, and they'll turn things around. They got a lot of young talent. I think they're going to be just fine. Let's move on to Group F. Yeah. Okay, cool. We got surprisingly, again, Morocco top of the group, and some folks are saying that this is not as big of a surprise as maybe I'm making it out to be, but I really did think going into this, as I said in the preview podcast, I thought Canada were going to play spoiler in this. I really thought that they were going to sneak in number 2, and then either Croatia or Belgium would be 1, the other would be 3rd, and Morocco 4th. But I got this one very wrong. It was Morocco 1, Croatia 2, Belgium 3rd, Canada 4. And I got to say, just as a human being, I feel so terrible for Romelu Lukaku. The 3 chances that he missed after coming on for Belgium in the second half, Belgium just needed 1 goal to move on to the knockout rounds of the World Cup. And he puts 1 off the post, and then he misses a header from just above the 6-yard box. And then he misses one on the back post that was literally placed in his lap, and he didn't know what to do with it. So Lukaku just broke down in tears, crying to Thierry Henry afterwards. Just as a human, I felt so terrible. As a football fan, you gotta do better, Romelu. You gotta do better. I mean, you can't put all the blame on one person, but it's hard not to. It's hard not to.
No, I mean, I'm gonna watch that, because I heard people saying that Lukaku cried his eye off, and I haven't seen it yet, so I don't have that sympathy yet. So I'm gonna leave it in my watch later for today. But yes, I feel honestly, when we came into the podcast, I did say Belgium were gonna finish first, and I think I don't know who I had second, but as the days went on, and I don't know if you knew or some people knew here, I started doing some videos on TikTok, and my mind changed. I started researching more about Belgium, and I'm not that surprised that they went out. I'm not that surprised. I'm not that surprised that they went out. I think that maybe second behind Croatia is okay. It's fine. But at the end of the day, I feel that I'm going to say this is going to be a twisted take or whatnot. I feel that they were the worst team in the World Cup, like apart with Wales. That tells you a lot. With Wales, they were the worst, and maybe Denmark. They were 3 of them. They were the worst teams in the competition. And Canada, remember that I did my ranking a few moments ago where I said first Spain, then France against Denmark, then Argentina against Poland. Canada against Belgium, that's like top 5 performance that I've seen from a team in this World Cup. Canada reminds me of what happened to Peru. I sorry to bring Peru up every single time, but it reminds me of Peru. It reminds me of Peru in the 2018 World Cup. Like Canada or Peru in 2018 played their eyes off in the first game. They played really good football. Both came into the World Cup after 36 years. Both came into the World Cup 36 years. Their fixture list was in the same order, maybe as what Peru was. Maybe a harder group for Canada, but the thing is that they played very entertaining football. Peru played very entertaining football against Denmark, but it was naive. It was naive because at the end of the day, you need a little more greediness. You cannot be all flair and touchy football and do like you want. And I feel that cost Canada, particularly in the game against Croatia. They got battered by Croatia. They started really good, and they haven't won a single game in a World Cup ever. And I feel that that's something that they need to look at. I feel they were very naive, and you could still see the naivety. Is that a word? Naivety? You could still see the naivety in the last game against Morocco, because they were losing, and the manager was like, go, all out attack, go. And it's like, that's not how you win a game. And you don't win a game by saying, oh, let's F Belgium up or Croatia up. That's not how you win a game. And I feel that it's maybe, I don't want to say that's maybe because the manager came from women football or whatnot, but it's just lack of experience in this stage. And it's all that cost them. But Canada played probably the 5th best game I've ever seen.
Bulga, I've got a quick question. Did Peru score the 2018 World Cup?
Yep, they scored.
Okay.
They scored against Australia in their last game when we were knocked out.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you had at least at the moment,
Buga has that moment tattooed on his back. I don't know if he's shown you yet.
No. I have. No, every Peruvian has the penalty. And Canada as well. Alfonso Davies missed a penalty against Belgium to get the lead. The same happened for Peru. We had a penalty to beat Denmark, and we freaking missed it. And honestly, here people, you mentioned Cueva is the guy who missed it. You mentioned Cueva concha su madre, which is Cueva, you piece of shit. You put it together, Cueva CSM, and that's a recognized thing. It's that guy, and I was also talking to my dad the other day. I was saying, dude, it still hurts me. Probably imagine that guy every time he goes to sleep, and like you say, Lukaku, every time he goes to sleep for the rest of his life, he's gonna be thinking about that moment. That's tough.
USA have that with Chris Wondolowski in the 2014 World Cup, I believe it was, against Belgium, where Tim Howard set the record for saves, 18 saves, and then late in the match, it wasn't wide open, but the ball fell to Wondolowski, right hand side, a young Courtois comes running out, spreads his arms wide, but still Wondolowski just had to put it on frame, and we would have beat Belgium and gone on to the quarterfinals. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm over it. I'm moving
quickly. I would have said Mexico have the same against Netherlands in the round of. Mexico have never progressed to the round of in ages. They haven't progressed to the quarterfinals. That's what they want.
Yeah, they made it to the round of 16 since the 80s or something.
Yeah. And against Netherlands they had a penalty.
Yeah.
And Wesley Sneijder was fouled. And this World Cup, Mexican fans saw Wesley Sneijder in Qatar, and they asked him, and Sneijder said it was not a penalty.
Oh no!
And I was like, whoa, that's
wasn't it Robben? Wasn't it Robben?
No, Rob. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Sneijder was the one who put it in. I don't know. But he said it wasn't a penalty. He said
Robin was the one who took the dive, but Sneijder put it in.
Yeah, maybe something like that. And they were and Sneijder said it wasn't a penalty. Everyone agrees it wasn't a penalty. Even Robin, he expands himself and he stops like that for 5 minutes, and it's it wasn't a penalty. And I'm just wow.
Yeah.
Okay, move on.
We've been cutting off Pablo. You got thoughts on?
Where were we? That was my fault. Here.
Yeah, that's right. You did pitch it back to Buga.
I asked Buga about Peru and I wreaked havoc.
Yeah, you pulled that ripcord and there's no coming back.
What Group F? Belgium.
Yeah. Morocco, Croatia, Belgium, Canada.
Yeah, well, disaster for Belgium again. I think we say. Maybe not as much of a disaster as Germany, because I think Germany would have thought we've got a really good squad right now. We should be going through. I think Belgium just know that they're finished, actually. I think the squad is finished. Yeah. I really do. Just when I saw those defenders again, I remember I was like, there's no way we're watching this for the 8th tournament in a row. You can't keep doing this. And they did, and they were awful. I thought they were shocking, and they shouldn't have even beaten Canada, by the way. They were so poor against Canada, and Canada should have won that game comfortably, 2-3-0 actually. So I thought Belgium have been so bad the whole tournament. They looked better with Lukaku on the pitch, but then he went and missed about 4 sitters in 5 minutes. It's just a nightmare for Belgium, honestly. So, and we heard there was like controversy within the camp, like with certain like the defenders and the attackers and Hazard and De Bruyne. And I mean, Hazard is... That guy gave me so much joy at Chelsea, but he looks so finished. It's quite sad. I mean, we know he's an ex-footballer now. And the defenders, like I said, it's not good enough. So Belgium, disaster. Morocco, very impressive. And I'm quite worried about Morocco for Spain. I really am. I think they're the sort of team that could cause Spain big issues. They look very good. They only conceded their first goal of the tournament today, am I right? To Canada in the 2-1. They had 0-0 and 2-0 before that. Yeah. So Morocco looking really strong. Croatia just seems to always do their bit in tournaments, don't they? Like they weren't looking that good on match day 1, I think it was in the 0-0 to Morocco, but they get through Croatia, and let's see what they're doing in the round of 16 now against Japan. That's a really good matchup. And then Canada, I didn't think were that bad, but you're right, they did seem very naive and they just didn't seem ready for a big tournament.
I don't remember. I don't know if you remember 2010 France when they went down in the group stage. Very same to Belgium. Good players. I think they had Thierry Henry, Ribéry, and like the camp. They were fighting, and that kind of blew it.
That's right. That was the World Cup where they had the mutiny with Patrice Evra, right, down in South Africa.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It reminds me of
good
that.
times. All right. Well, before we get to round of 16 predictions, at the time of this recording, we do still have the third match to play in Group G and Group H.
Yeah.
So let's get some predictions there. Group G, Brazil are through.
Yep.
So we got Switzerland with 3 points, Cameroon with 1, Serbia with 1, and on the last match day, it's Serbia taking on Switzerland, Cameroon taking on Brazil. Brazil are through. Do Cameroon have a chance here, or is it really going to be Serbia versus Switzerland, and Switzerland just need a draw, or Serbia can win and potentially get through themselves? What do we think?
I don't know. I think Brazil, maybe they can get a draw against Brazil, but it's one of Serbia and Switzerland. Like Brazil are gonna rotate, like France did.
That's what, yeah.
So maybe, but like maybe Tunisia beat France, maybe Cameroon can beat Brazil, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter, honestly, because Portugal are gonna finish first in the other group.
Okay. You're just saying who wants to lose to Portugal in the next round is what you're saying.
I'm sorry.
What do you think? Who's making it out here?
This is really hard. I mean, Cameroon could beat Brazil because Brazil will play their second team, but I still think their second team, or at least 5-6 rotations, will be enough to at least draw against them. And even if they do win, they'll go to 4 points. Serbia could then go to 4 if they win, and if they win big, they'll have goal difference. Switzerland will just need a draw. Goal difference could come into this one. I'm going to go Switzerland will hobble through by hook or by crook, by a draw or by a win.
Okay. I'm going to go Serbia. I'm going to go Serbia this one. I think Serbia versus Cameroon was one of the most fun matches to watch. So I feel confident Serbia are going to have a similar performance. They're going to lay it out on the line. And I don't know if Switzerland are going to match that energy. I think Serbia they're one of those teams that have that next gear that they can get to where they really dig deep and apply that pressure and just that never say die attitude. I see that in Serbia. I don't know if Switzerland are going to match it. So I'm going Serbia getting the win, which will put them on 4 points. Switzerland stay 3. I don't think Cameroon can even beat a B squad for Brazil. So I'm going Serbia for this one.
Let's go each a different. I'm going to go Cameroon. F it.
Let's go.
I'm going to go Cameroon, John's going to go Serbia, and Paul's going to go Switzerland.
You know what's interesting though, John? I think you could be right about Serbia because Switzerland know they don't necessarily need to win to go through. Serbia know they need to win. A win is all that will do for Serbia. That mentality entering a football match just for me is massive and it's probably quite underplayed. So I think that could come into it. So Cameroon need to win. Yeah, you're right. And Brazil have nothing to play for. Yeah. But I just think Brazil are too good.
Yeah,
I don't think. I don't think Switzerland are too good.
I just want to say,
Yeah.
you know that the only match I've missed of this World Cup was that 3 Cameroon, 3 Serbia.
Really? You
Oh, really?
managed, you
I
managed to
fell
watch all of
asleep.
it, have you?
I fell asleep. I didn't. I forgot about that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I missed a couple of the 5 a.m. ones. I can admit that. Those ones were hard to get up for, but caught most of these. Back to predictions then. How about Group H? This one not quite turning out the way I expected. We got Portugal on 6 points, Ghana on 3, South Korea on 1, Uruguay on 1, and the last matchups are going to be we got South Korea versus Portugal and Ghana versus Uruguay. So South Korea, I think, would need an upset against Portugal, and then it could come down to, can Uruguay get a win over Ghana? What do we think?
I think South Korea are going to lose against Portugal. I think Portugal maybe rotate as well. But I just want to give a shout out to, I don't know if you saw that game between South Korea and Ghana. Cho, the striker, dude, that guy is good. That guy is good. And shout out to him. And honestly, for Uruguay, people don't, I think even here in South America, they don't realize that this is a must-win game. Like, there's not that much, like, incentiveness behind it. Maybe like Argentina against Mexico, for instance. That was, everyone was like, they need to win this game. But Uruguay against Ghana, not so much. And I think that's a little bit interesting. I think I have Ghana going through, beating Uruguay last. But we never know.
Okay. Pablo, what do you think?
So difficult. People, who was it who on this podcast who was telling me Uruguay are like incredible now? I didn't think they were going to be doing that much. They haven't scored in. Was it all?
Probably me and Diego.
I had Uruguay as a dark horse for this one.
Well, I remember you guys saying that Uruguay have been really good under the new coach and stuff, and like, I don't know, they just look old to me. They look old and unable, and they haven't even scored a goal. Yeah, imagine entering match day 3, and you haven't put the ball in the opponent's net. So not a good place to be in. Now they've got to beat Ghana. It's the sort of thing I can see them doing though. It is Uruguay, so I'm just waiting. Like, Suarez is just going to score, isn't he? So
I feel
I'm going to go. I'm going to go Uruguay because I think they'll scramble through.
What you say about the manager is right. Like, and I noticed that before the manager didn't put too many pieces, didn't put too many pieces of importance on Suarez and Cavani. Before it was like, okay, Valverde, you take a little bit more of control of this game. But it seems like he shifted the tactics for a World Cup to be more pragmatic. And that's what I don't get. Like, what worked so good before, keep it. Have faith in the youth.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't done that. And in contrast to Portugal, I think Portugal, honestly, I'm going to say it, I've been surprised. They are good. They've been playing good football. Because Ronaldo is not the main star. It's Bruno Fernandes. It's Bernardo Silva. Fernando Santos has realized that Ronaldo is being substituted every single game. And they're looking good. Yeah. They honestly, I feel it will be trouble for Spain in the quarterfinals. I do see Portugal like a good team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Uruguay, sneaking out a win in this one. 1-0. Here's why. Although they have not scored a goal yet in this tournament, Ghana have given up 5 in their first 2 matches. Between Darwin Nunez, with Luis Suarez, with Cavani, one of them's got to get a goal in, right?
I don't know. I like Ghana. I have to admit, I do like Ghana how they play, but I think what John said is important. They've given up so many goals, so I don't know. I'm leaning to Uruguay, what you said, but I'm also thinking Ghana. I don't know. So now, Pablo, should we do then the knockout?
Yes.
Should we do the knockout stages? Do we start with you, John?
Knockout stages.
Yes.
Okay, well, I think the first match in
Let's
the
go
knockout stages is Netherlands, USA, right? Rapid fire. Okay, Going from the gut on this one, USA. I mentioned in the preview that if we get through, I think USA actually matches up pretty well against Netherlands. I'm looking at their lineup. There is not anybody on that squad that gives me fear. Frankie de Jong is amazing. Okay, I'll give you that. Gakpo having a great tournament. Virgil van Dijk, huge name in the back. Memphis Depay, superstar. None of those guys are world breakers. None of those guys put fear in my heart. I'd take our midfield over Netherlands midfield. Frankie de Jong,
honestly,
outstanding, of course. But I'll take U.S. men's national team midfield over Netherlands. I think we have a very similar performance to England, but I think we get a goal this time, 1-0 to USA, and we go through.
Wow.
I'm going to go Netherlands.
To be...
And Pablo comes in with the wet blanket.
Pablo, what about you?
To be fair, I'm so tempted to go for an upset here, by the way. I can see Netherlands bowing. You know, remember like they did at the Euros when they lost to Czech Republic and everyone thought they were going through? This is reminding me a lot of that. It really is. Oh, I'm going to go Netherlands. 2-1 in extra time.
I think this will go to penalties.
Extra time, okay.
I think this will go to penalties or extra time, 100%.
Netherlands don't convince me. They really don't.
Quickly, Argentina, Australia.
All right. Argentina, Australia. I'm going Argentina. I can't imagine Australia pulling this one off.
Yeah, Argentina.
Yeah, me too. I think
Croatia.
Argentina are going to do it.
Japan, Croatia. I'm gonna go Japan just because I think their adaptability. I'm going Japan.
Croatia.
Okay.
Going for the crafty veterans. The next one would be speculative because it would be Brazil versus Ghana, South Korea, or Uruguay, right?
But I mean, come on.
I mean, is anybody going against Brazil? Brazil and whoever. Is anybody going against Brazil in that one?
No.
I'm not.
No? Okay. Brazil it is. France versus Poland. Who you got?
France. But I could see Poland, I don't know, starting the game 1-0 up. And then France okay, we need to get back on track. Something like that. I could see that. Lewandowski magic. I could see that. I see a front page of Lewandowski doing something, but France end up winning the game.
To be fair, the only reason I feel... Sorry,
go ahead, Pablo.
I was going to say the only reason I can see Poland going through is because they would then be playing England in the next round, and we know that England have to just get the easiest run every single time. So, other than that, France.
Yeah, outside of Lewandowski scoring in the 7th minute off of a header and then Poland win 1-0, I think it's going to be France in this one. And then I do think England take care of Senegal pretty easily.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think England wipe off Senegal, by the way. I said that on the group stage as well, some of these teams, and people again in England are trying to make it like, oh, we've got a good game on our hands here. You don't. It's going to be easy.
All right. Spain, Morocco. I'm going to say Spain. I'm going Spain for this one. I know you guys are a little bit fearful, but I'm going Spain confidently.
No, I'm going Spain as well. Like Pablo is coming here saying they got a game on our hands, but no. It's Spain.
This to me reeks of Russia in the round of 16 of last World Cup to me. It really does. I'm not feeling very good right now. I will go Spain. Gun to my head, I'll go Spain, but I could see this. I could see this penalty shootout to Morocco. I can. I'm going to go Spain.
Okay, a reluctant pick for Spain. The last one would be Portugal taking on whoever ends up second, either Switzerland, Cameroon, or Serbia. BUGA, you mentioned earlier that you think Portugal's just going to walk over whoever that is, right?
Yeah, I think Portugal are looking like a good team. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if after all the memes, all the things, we get a final Argentina-Portugal. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oof. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it at all. Pablo, what do you think? Portugal versus whoever?
Yeah, I think Portugal are going to do it. I think they are. I think they're quite good at tournament football, so I'm going to go for them.
Yeah, I think there are some tasty matchups coming up, both in the round of 16 and then the quarterfinal is looking really good. However you slice it, I'm pretty excited for it.
It is.
All right, any final thoughts before you wrap up, folks?
Well, I was going to say on the quarterfinals, I think if all the generic teams go through and everything we're expecting, I think there's going to be some unbelievable games on the way. Like all the top nations against each other, like Super League, but in the World Cup. But I think we're going to get upsets. I do, so I don't think it's going to work out that way. There always are upsets. I think a few big names are going out.
What is the one game you want to see? Like, before we wrap up, what's the one game you wish happened so you get to see that? I have two. I have two that I want to see.
Well, I mean, it's almost cliche to say, but an Argentina-Portugal final, Messi versus Ronaldo, you can't write it any better than that. Outside of that, since you said it, I really do love the idea of Japan versus Brazil, but I'll give you Spain versus Portugal in a quarterfinal might be one of the matches of the tournament.
Oh, you think? Yeah.
I Japan Brazil, I like that. I don't know why, but it looks so different. They're like across the world. I like that. And the other one, I really, really do like. I do really want to see Argentina batter England in a final.
me too, BUGA. But this is real life.
And England is gonna win 1-0 with a header goal from Maguire in the 89th minute.
Correct.
Get out of here with this Maguire nonsense. Okay,
quick shout out. Maguire, good football. He's been playing good football.
I'll tell you what. He was the lone defender against U.S. On the corner kicks. We were just serving him up to Maguire. There was one very clever play where McKennie realized what was going on. He went and stood on the backside of Maguire, put his two hands up to signal to Pulisic to send it to the far post, which he did, and then McKennie just acted like a wall. That was the one time that we got a corner past Maguire. But outside of that, he was basically unbeatable.
I thought he was England's best player against USA, wasn't he? Really?
Yep. He was.
Sadly,
I think in my head I've made a comparison between Maguire and Humpty Dumpty. I think they're the same person.
That's amazing.
Like when he's standing up, he's good, but then when he falls, like none of the king's men or I don't know, king horse, I don't know what this is.
I can put him back together again. Oh, that's amazing. You know what? I think we're gonna leave it on that imagery for our listeners. We, of course, will be back in just a few days. We're going to do another recording on Tuesday the 6th, I believe, is our next one up. We'll do a little recap of the round of 16. We'll talk quarterfinal matchups. Make sure you tune in and see how right or wrong we were. Go ahead and give a send-off. Pablo, you first.
Yeah, good to be back on. Interesting group stage, some upsets and stuff, and we should have a good knockout stage ahead of us. So yeah, it was good to be back.
I love it. This World Cup. I like it already. Way better than the 2018 World Cup.
You enjoying it, yeah, BUGA? You're a Qatar advocate, yeah.
Look, I don't mix what Qatar is with the football. I don't even put it. I like watching Qatar games. I was like, I wanted to see Qatar win. Like I don't care. I'm not gonna mix. I'm not gonna hold it against a guy who just likes to play ball. You know, like that's what I think.
I'm twisting this. I'm gonna tweet that BUGA is an advocate for Qatar, for what they stand for.
BUGA is pro Qatar. Everything that they believe in is signed off by BUGA.
It's that honestly what they believe. Like I don't mind. Is that it's not. I don't think it's my issue to fix it. Like Like a good leader, you show what you believe could be better, but you don't impose it. I think that's what's wrong with us Westerners. We go to Qatar and we impose what we think, and it's not our job to do that. It's our job to show maybe that it could be better, but not to impose. Not to go with a girl flashing her tits in live television. No, you don't do that.
I don't know where we're going with this, but I love it. For more of our political takes, tune into our other podcast. No, I'm just kidding, of course. We'll keep it about football, of course. But I will say this tournament has been a fun one, despite a few 0-0 results early on. And I think people were getting worried. I think this one did turn out to be a very fun group stage. Couple matches left, and then the round of 16. All right, lots to talk about. I appreciate everyone listening. Make sure you come back for the next episode. Again, we'll be talking about round of 16 results and quarterfinals. BUGA, Pablo, thank you, boys. We'll see you all next time.
Ciao, ciao.
All right.